welcome to another episode of Sage Cigarettes Presents A Ghost in the Magazine. I'm Stef.
And I'm Elle.
I'm so happy to have Elle back. So we're continuing Cage Month with Willy's Wonderland. And boy, oh boy, what a treat. It's basically Five Nights at Freddy's, but like if Chuck E. Cheese fell into a hellhole and got barfed back up and they needed someone to cleanse the earth of this abomination building. That's basically what it was.
It's like all of the horror movie tropes rolled into one. Psychotic cannibals, serial killers, satanic rituals, puppets. As Scaredy Matt would say, wet puppets.
No, they really are. They're like weirdly
moist.
Fake. Oh my God, that's not the word I was going to go for. But sure, they're weirdly moist. It makes everyone uncomfortable, just like saying the word. So this movie is about basically a Chuck E. Cheese called Willy's Wonderland. It's in a little piece of shit nothing town, and it was bought by a serial killer, and he got all of his serial killer friends to come work there and dress as puppets, and they were murdering children, which is awful. So they were going to shut them down, but they did this weird satanic suicide ritual so that their spirits would go into the fucking puppets and then they could live on and murder everybody forever. And then the townspeople struck up a deal with them because they were not limited to this building. They were leaving the building and killing everybody. So they said, stay in this fucking building and we'll feed you. The shit that happens in small towns, I tell you what. It's not just cocaine. Sometimes it's this. So this shit is happening, and then who happens to roll through town but Daddy Cage? I don't even know his name in this movie. Does he have one?
They just describe him as a quiet drifter in the synopsis.
A quiet drifter. That makes him sound like he's also a serial killer, which I don't know, man.
I mean, there's nothing proving he is not. He could just have really good self-control.
That's valid, especially when you see him.
But he did kill puppets, so maybe he's a puppet serial killer.
Okay, yes, we need to unpack. We need to unpack this, okay? So he rolls into town, and what they do is they leave these spikes out so that they can trap tourists. So they tell the tourists, whoever, like people who won't be missed, your car will be fixed overnight. And there's no hotels for you, by the way. In exchange, you can clean up this piece of shit place for me, which honestly, it's a huge job. I think it's gross. You can clean up this place for me, and your car will be fixed in the morning. You can ride on out of here. Weird as fuck. So that's what happens. They need to fix his really cool car. And then there's also this very cliche group of teenagers who want to burn Willy's down to the ground because they know what's happening to the townspeople. And the main girl, her parents were killed by it, so she's on a mission. There's just so much happening here. Okay, so they catch her at the beginning. She's trying to set the place on fire, and they're like, nope, you little rascal. And the sheriff is this old bitch, basically kidnapped Liv, and it was raising her as her own. But they bring her back to her, and she basically handcuffs her to some fucking pipes and is like, you're gonna stay here. She said, how am I gonna eat? And this bitch says, oh, there's chips on the table and there's a bucket in the corner. And then she leaves her there. Like, excuse me? That's why Liv hates you, you old bat. But her friends save her and whatever. And she's like, I saw the guy, the sacrifice or whatever. She didn't say it like that. They don't say sacrifice till the end, but you know what's happening. And she locked eyes with this silent drifter. He makes sounds. He does. Well, Liv wants to save him. Her friends are kind of shitty, but it doesn't matter because they all die anyway. And she's got to get in there. So when he's in this building, okay, they have these aggressively fast-paced cleaning montages through the whole movie. And I'm like, he's really cleaning this place. They literally have a camera on him and he's cleaning.
He's also drinking a lot of soda. That guy should be fucking diabetic as hell.
So yes, I mean, it did say pop on it. I got a lot of different vibes.
It looked like fucking Five Finger Death Punch energy drink or some shit like that.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be tough. He's a tough guy. He's got a leather jacket. He's got a fancy car. It's all coded for tough guy shit.
Okay, sure. But in the beginning, when he's driving his tough guy car and, you know, he's got the glasses and he's got that fucking sick edge of the facial hair, like he's all edged up, like he just got out of the fucking barber. It gave me Ash vs. versus Evil Dead vibes, except for Bruce Campbell does not shut up and he doesn't stop talking about himself. But that's what it felt like. Instead of Deadites, it's moist puppets.
Oh man. I had such high hopes for this, and then what am I watching? There was not really a plot to it. He didn't need the kids.
No.
The kids were dumb, and they were so resistant to coming in, and then they get in and they just fuck around. You're gonna fuck around and find out, my dudes. Like, what do you
Fuck a boot, find dude. That's basically what it is. So there's all the dynamics with the kids are fucking weird. It feels forced. Like, how did you guys really become friends at all? It doesn't seem like they're people who would be friends with each other. Like the annoying couple, the girlfriend is so weird and she's so overtly sexual for no reason. It
Yeah.
makes me so uncomfortable. And that leads to the worst part of the movie for me, the gratuitous sex scene. You know that there's murderous puppets in there, and as soon as you get in there, you're gonna split the fuck off and like bang your boyfriend in a room where the satanic ritual happened. What a fucking
Yeah.
weirdo. I
I don't
hated
know.
that.
And he was so resistant to going in the first place. And he's just like, I got a dick. Somebody flashing their tits at me. I guess I gotta fuck. It doesn't matter that I was like shitting myself practically 5 seconds ago.
It does not matter. I said something similar in the last episode with freaking Grand Isle
Yep.
because I'm like, oh, all Fancy had to do was show a little titty, and he's like, okay, because he has a penis. Sorry,
Penis
penis havers.
havers. I'm not sorry. Fuck you, penis havers. Come find me and fight me.
Okay, so let's talk about the puppets because they're weird. I don't remember all of them. There were just way too many. So there was a weird ostrich that said some creepy shit like, I'll feast on your face.
Ozzy Ostrich.
Then when he's cleaning graffiti out of the bathroom, there's a fucking gorilla that appears out of nowhere.
Gus Gorilla. He looks like
Okay.
that Gorilla Glue gorilla.
Oh my god, he does. And he's like the most normal looking one. Then there's a satanic Tinkerbell looking one.
Siren Sarah.
She does this move when she's fucking up the little quiet guy, and she flipped and grabbed this dude with her fucking ankles and flipped him back into like these foam cubes. And
Mhm.
she's like, haha, you're gonna die. It's like, what a way to go, man. Then there was a weird alligator in the vents.
Artie Alligator. They're all just dumb, alliterative names. Willy Weasel, Artie Alligator, Cammy Chameleon, Ollie Ostrich, Tito Turtle, Nighty Night, Gus Gorilla, and Siren Sarah. The only good one in all of that is Nighty Night. I would take that one.
I don't even know which one that is.
The knight with that big sword that they were fucking with.
Oh, see, I feel like I saw him one time.
It was a
And
very forgettable scene.
they didn't need to have so many puppets. Have like 4 or something like that so we can keep track, and then maybe you can have a better story.
I don't think they were gonna do that though.
You're right. So the siren one, she also did this thing where she flipped backwards and backwards ran up the fucking wall. And I think that was the scariest part. And like, that was it. All Liv had to do was slap her to distract her. She said, I slapped that bitch, but that's not going to keep her down for long. Excuse me?
There's no real stakes here. I mean, there is for the kids, but they're just being fucking stupid. If they see this freaking guy who kills every puppet that comes at him, even when he goes on his little pop breaks where he goes and dances in front of his pinball machine and drinks his pop, just fucking go back there with him. He doesn't ever complain. He just walks off by himself. He doesn't care if they're there. He's just not going to actively help them on his breaks.
Yes, and the breaks are important, I feel. I'm not sure exactly what goes on here, but there was a situation, I think, with the chameleon,
Yeah.
and he was about to whoop her ass, and his alarm went off. So he hands Liv the knife, and he goes off and he has his little soda break. So he's a man ruled by rituals. It was very video game like, so kind of like Scott Pilgrim, because when he was juiced up and he got the roid rage from the gaming, everything would light up and the puppets were like really mechanical. And then when on, the colors would mute out and then they were more real. So that was pretty cool. But
My problem with it is there was no story, no stakes. I was just bored.
yeah, the other thing that it reminded me of was Krampus with the weird puppet things. The worst part of Krampus to me, the scariest part, was that angel with the fucking mouth ripped open or whatever, and it had that
Yeah.
tongue.
I forgot about that part.
I'll never forget about that part.
Those things don't scare me. It just looks stupid.
You know what it is? I think, oh, what if that bitch just popped out of my fucking wall? That would make you pee your pants. Not just
Yeah.
seeing it on a screen. If she's in your house, how do you get rid of something like that? A fly swatter? Some raid?
I would say come down off of whatever drugs you're smoking.
I don't smoke those kinds of drugs. If that comes out of my wall, we got a problem. 911, get me the Vatican, please. I need help. So he was like a nonverbal superhero, which I think is kind of cool because my nephew is nonverbal. He's on the autism spectrum, and that's just what he reminds me of here. He's got his little things. He doesn't speak, he doesn't need to speak, and he still saved a whole town. So that's
Yeah.
something nice to take out of it.
That's the bright side.
Oh, and there's another
Unfortunately.
bright side towards the end when he was doing that pinball machine shit and he was busting out the dance moves, man. And he did that power fist straight
Yeah.
up into the sky. I literally out loud, mind you, I was in my bed, wrapped in my blankets, tired as fuck. I said, that shit right there. Come to my house and do that. Like, knock on the door and power fist.
I liked his dance moves, I will admit. That was the best part of the movie for me. I bought this too, so I have it forever.
Oh, girl.
It's a Daddy Cage movie and it's got puppets, and I was looking forward to it having a plot. I mean, I guess
Mhm.
it's like Survive the Night, but like I said, it just feels very much like you know who's gonna die because it's the people that are acting foolish, and he doesn't even really have to break a sweat to kick these guys' ass.
At all.
He just
Like,
does
at
it.
all.
He's not that special. There's no way that one of those kids couldn't just do a roundhouse kick and chop the thing's head off or something. They just weren't
But the
trying.
whole town just kind of filled with a bunch of fucking dummies. The old sheriff lady, she kept interfering with his work.
Mhm.
If you would just let him kill them, you have nothing to worry about. But she was like dead set on praising Willy. He's a serial killer, bro. A possessed puppet serial killer. And if this dude is taking out the trash for you, let him.
Do you think she was banging the puppet?
Maybe. I
Just saying.
mean, she literally said, Willy, come and get it. And he was like, I'm tired of this old lady. Sliced her in half. And then the look on Daddy Cage's face, and he was like, not on my clean floor, motherfucker.
And every time he would make a mess, he'd just clean it right back up. He's a Virgo stereotype.
Oh, stop it. Virgo here.
Virgo with Capricorn somewhere in his chart.
Can confirm.
I'm just gonna start astrologying all of the main characters of these
Please,
movies.
can you please just do that? I feel like that would just add an extra little kick. You know what I compared this movie to? I feel like this movie is the Nicolas Cage version of some shit Seth Rogen and James Franco would make.
Okay, that's fair. I really wanted to like it, and it's not that I didn't like it. I got bored. I see where this is going. There's nothing here for me to get concerned about. I know what's gonna happen.
It's true. Now, if he ran out of soda, then that would be a thing.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
You should have run out of soda. That would have been a twist in the plot there.
But it's okay. It was an okay movie. I feel like the trailer was better than the actual movie.
Mm-hmm.
We watched the trailer and I was like, oh, this movie is going to be very, very interesting. It wasn't. But I liked that flex at the end. He did with his fucking tires.
I was telling Steph before, though, I'm not super comfortable with him riding off into the sunset with an, I guess, underage child. I don't know, maybe she's supposed to be 18, but even then, he's obviously old.
True. And I feel like it didn't bother me because she didn't have anywhere else to go. But like also at the same time, I wouldn't have done that
Nah.
at all. I'd have been like, okay, free to go. I'm
Have
just
a
gonna
nice
back away
life there, Daddy
slowly.
Cage.
Thanks a lot, strange guy, for setting me free. I'm gonna go make a life for myself now. But at the same time, I don't know. He could have dropped her off at the next town. We
True.
don't know what's happening.
True.
That's what I'm gonna choose to believe. Because we don't know what his story is. Does he just go around
No.
America like Sam and Dean and look for haunted Chuck E. Cheese's?
I mean, he has got the Sam and Dean vibe. That's what I thought. It's like, this is
Yeah.
supernatural.
Very.
Daddy Cage joins the cast of Supernatural.
Oh, I would watch that so quick. I mean, he could just be like a regular dude with a regular thing. This is just a thing that happened, a little blip on the roadmap of his life, and he's like, I can handle this.
Maybe he's just going through midlife crisis. He had like some shitty job at like a shoe factory up in New England, and he was driving through Nevada on his way to Hollywood to try his hand at becoming a fucking tough guy star, an action hero. And that's why he had all those sweet moves, you know, because he had practiced them for his.
Yeah, in his mom's basement.
It's open-ended like a Twilight Zone episode. We can write the story around it.
You know, I just don't have anything else to say about this movie.
Yeah, it is what it is. If you just want to see a cool guy that doesn't talk, beat up a bunch of puppets, this is the movie for you. Or if
I
you
can
just like
see.
watching a guy time himself drinking sodas, it's very satisfying. I mean, it's like one of those YouTube videos.
The oddly satisfying thing.
Yep.
Those cleaning. I was like, yeah, get in there. there, get that dirt.
Clean up that graffiti.
I think it's definitely worth a watch.
Once.
Because, wow.
Rent it, don't buy it.
But there's still more Daddy Cage fun to come.
The next movie is Between Worlds, and it looks like it's about truckers, so I'm a little stoked.
Come back for it. Who doesn't love Nick Cage? I've converted people now. And nowadays, if I hear anybody talking shit, I jump up and say, don't talk about Nicolas Cage that way.
My brother hates Nicolas Cage and we fight. I'm like, you
Um,
just don't understand the nuances of Daddy
Right.
Cage's acting
You just
style.
don't understand him. That's all.
But he
Try
hasn't
wa-
watched Vampires Kiss, and that's the
Oh.
problem. I feel like you have to watch that to appreciate him. That's where I came over.
1,000%. That's also where I came over. And then the rest of the movies that we watched were just like the icing on the Daddy
Mhm.
Cage cake. That's a visual. You're welcome.
All right, let's wrap this shit up.
You can find the podcast on Twitter at GITN Podcast. You can find me on Twitter at WitchXPudding.
And you can find me at Nocturnical.
Okay, bye.